Alright, now I've done the review. I'm making a start on it. I'm actually starting at the beginning. Right, so that's part of the seat. It's very detail is finesse, and the joins are also finesse, if that makes sense. Some of the sprue gates are on where parts will meet up, so you need to clean them up, but some areas might have a chamfered edge rather than a right angle, so it's a bit, just be careful with the cleanup. And okay, so you got the cushion area and you got the sides. So where they've got, you got the darker grey colour there, that's like the contact area where the sides touch, which is simple enough. And you got the ejection pull ring there, another bit goes on there. It's just the top of the header box that I'm a bit vague about as to where it exactly sits. I know it pushes in here, so it sits there. At that stage it's back a bit, because if I push it forward, it's pushing up against the top of the seat there, and that's I just mentioned about chamfered edges. That's got a chamfered edge, but the edge of this is square, so I'm not sure if it's meant to just sit behind that like so, or if I push it up and make the back level, whether that increases that gap that's in that between the cushion and the header box. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to glue that yet. I'm going to wait till I get all this together, which is I'll talk about in a second, and then I'll see how it looks when it sits. Right, so this is this section, B27, and the first thing I said, oh my god, look at all those ejection pin marks, that's insane. But I think I'm trying to dry fit it because I want to check if I might be able to get away without filling any of these. I think it's hard, none of these parts just want to sit in position firmly, so I'm sort of need 4 hands. So when that goes in, so you got these two parts. So there's 2 of these that sit in here on either side there. This is where, when they're in, come on. I knew this would do this. Doesn't want to play the game. Alright, that comes in behind. Yeah, it's not going to sit there anyway. The seat sits on top of that, which should take out all those ejection pin marks. I think maybe the only one that may be possible to see are these 2 here, maybe. But again, I think what I'll do is I'll bite the bullet and just glue it together and see what I can see. Alright, when I did the review, I mentioned about you got the 2 callouts there, and I thought that might have been the decal or the 3D decals. It's actually the part number. So you got 2. So you got B7 and B12. That's B12. B12 is flat, it has no detail on it. B7 has all the raised detail. So if you want to use the decals, as in the normal cartograph decals, not the 3D decals, you'd probably use that one and put your decal over top and get it to melt down on that detail. But I'm using these ones, so I need the flat section. So that's what's going on with those callouts. yeah, so let me finish building this and I'll come back and have a look-see. Alright, move that. I'm just dry fitting some parts. So you got nice big, you're locating positions, that's one and that's the other. So you got that, those are slotting into there. So as mentioned, your ejection pins are all pretty much covered up. There's still two there, but I don't think you'll see them once it's all together and everything's in, because I still need to add two more pieces. I haven't added all these little parts yet. I just wanted to check out how the seat fitted. Still got to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. Part of the instrument panels there. Same again. You got the which one's it? C8, and it's matching one is C12. So one's got detail on them and the other ones don't. Again, for the style of decal you're using. I'm trying to work out this plastic. It seems a hard plastic, but it also seems soft. When I think of soft plastic, I think of Airfix, old Airfix. This doesn't feel like that, but it's. I can tell you, be careful, because this part B27, when I glued that rear seat bulkhead in, I had to push it down in to the slot, and because I had the glue there, and when I pushed it, this piece just came off. So the glue softened it and it just broke off. Fortunately, that the nose gear parts helped me align it back to glue it on. So be careful, and it could be the glue I use. I use Mr. Cement SP. So this is quick drying cement, because you can get, have I got one? Oh, one. That's your normal one. So this is, most of you probably know anyway. So you got Tamiya Extra Thin. That would be the equivalent, Mr. Cement S. Then you have your Tamiya Extra Thin, which dries faster than the normal Extra Thin, and this one dries faster than this one. So I use this. That's my experience with it anyway. This one dries faster than Extra Thin, and I'm not sure if it shouldn't be more aggressive at that, or it's just the plastic. So just all I can say is be careful with when you glue something and the pressure you're putting on it. But otherwise, yeah, you got all that nice internal details in there. And yeah, because I broke it and that's another reason I tested this out, just to make sure it was all gonna sit and line up, so it's all good. And again, I mentioned this in the review, all these ejection pins, you won't see them at the moment. You can see that one, but I have to put in that other piece of the instrument panel, so you won't see it. So far, which is only early days, they've engineered it that the ejection pin marks won't be seen, so that's a good thing. But as previously mentioned, like your side of the cockpit there where the top sits on, that's chamfered, so it's not 90 degrees, it's like 45-degree angle, and there was ejection gate or sprue gate there and there. Be real careful when you clean it up, because you don't want to take too much out, and if you leave too much there, you'll have trouble fitting this part on it. No different than any other kit, but just where some of them are located is in important spots. Alright, you can see I got bits and pieces lying around everywhere. As usual, I couldn't stick to the start to end on putting different parts together. Alright, so I'll put the rest of those little parts into the cockpit, so the joystick. Let's go back here. This one here, which is C29, which is that one. So I had to cut the bottom half of it off, which goes into that recess, because with that piece on, it stuck out at like 90 degrees. I couldn't get it to fit because that electrical box, whatever is there, fouled it, and you can't. I'm not removing that. It's meant to be there, and as far as I can tell, that's all cockpit walls and the bulkhead are lined up, and it fitted in the fuselage right. So I don't know. Anyway, it fitted when I cut it off, but so that's something to look out for. I don't know why mine wouldn't fit. Now I glued that one and the throttle lever in, but when I come to after I paint, I have to put that in there. By the looks of it, the slots are there for those parts, but I might have to. That one looks like it's got an actual hole, square hole. It's got a bit on the edge. I'm gonna have to chop that edge out, I'd say, more than likely. I've made the rear, the main gear wheel bay, and then basically I went off tangent because I'm trying to work this out. Gun pod and the lamp, I know what they are, but I mean, this is confusing me. Inorganic gun and gun status. This part here, which is these, the only difference is one's got a tab on it. It's not telling me what I want to know. So I moved forward. So when I said the gear bay, that's that one, and that's this piece. Again, you've got huge positive fit location. The rear one I got to put in the part goes in there. It's not a polycap, but it's a round piece. It's on one of the sprues, so it's injection plastic. It's not rubber. So that all lines up. Now, so there it says gun pod. I want the gun pod on. Drill the hole. I've drilled the hole, so that should fit. That'll be sitting in there. I did what they said. I was just noticing that the hole's bigger than the tab, but anyway. We're gonna keep going now. Alright. Here we go. Gun pod. So I've already glued this together. So you got that's this one. So you got to glue a bit in there, and you can see there's a gap there. I'm gonna have to fill. It's a bit nasty, that gap. The other side's got the actual cannon. You can see the barrel, or the ends of the barrels in there. It's injected plastic. The piece that you insert in, this one, C23, has got that detail on it. So that's together. That's no problem. Now, this is where I get confused, or sort of. So now I've worked out when it said inorganic, that means no gun, and you were fitting, was it this? It's moving around because I haven't got the rear one in, but it will fit. So that's the belly plate. That there. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. I'm having the cannons, but again, it's very vague. So they got, to me, they got an arrow pointing to there, that slot, and it points up that appears to be here. But that's not right. That's way off. It should fit up here, from what I can gather anyway, like that. I think. I'm still not 100% convinced. And I thought, oh, so if you don't, the inorganic gun, you put these on. I don't know if it's just a spoiler or and there's one for the other side. Obviously, I just cut that off to put it to see if I can help me align where this should actually sit. Now, those slots are for there. This doesn't have slots, and for some reason this side has got these tabs that stick out, but they don't. Well, it kinda. Well, my bad. That they do line up with there, but they won't go in. Then you can see there's a. It won't push in, so I'm gonna have to cut them off. So I'm still, and it's because I'm not familiar. Like, I know what a Harrier is, but I mean, I don't, like, I build model kits, and if I build a Skyhawk, I've built heaps of them, so I know what's going on. Not as to say I'm not a engineer or anything, what everything does, but I know sort of how it's supposed to go together and where things sit. But because I've never done I've done a Harrier, but I've done a British Harrier, GR7 I think I did, but I haven't done an American one with these pods, and I'm not sure exactly where it should sit. I've looked up images. I'm trying to work out from images where it sits. I think that's right, but I'm not going to go gluing things until I confirm. And the other thing is, I wanted to use so way back here again, we mentioned the lantern pod, the targeting pod, which is that. So I'm going to have bombs on it. I need the lantern pod. So from what I can make out here, it's either you're having this or the lantern pod there. I'm guessing that's why they're showing those holes, is for the pylon for the lantern pod. But looking at images of this aircraft, I can't, obviously you're seeing a real aircraft parked on a tarmac or in flight, it's not right up underneath it, but from what I can see, some of them have that on there, and the lantern pod is sitting in here. From the images, to me it looks like the lantern pod sits in between the gun pod there. And if that's so, I don't know how I'm gonna fit it. Again, it's very confusing for myself and vague, so I've got to work that out. It's a bit frustrating because I'm like, I could have been progressed a lot further, but I'm sort of backwards and forwards, and then going on my computer and looking at pictures, trying to work things out. So I'm going to, what I'll do is I'll get this part and sit it there where it's supposed to sit, and then check that again and see if that fits. Otherwise I'll be moving stuff. I put in, there's two little parts that went into the fuselage. That area's white, it's inside your nose gear bay. or it's part of your nose gear bay. I know I showed this before, but so that's part that glued in. I've glued in those instrument panel sections, so you can't see that ejection pin mark behind it now, and that's just, I'm showing you the gear bay there. So there is that ejection pin that can be a bit seen there, but I'm probably just going to leave it. Yeah, you're not really going to see it once that's together. It's pretty tight in there. So that's sorted. But yeah, I just need to work out this pod, so I'm going to try and work that out. Alright, a new day, a new beginning. I think I mentioned, well, I had to insert this part. I said it was a kit injection part, but it's a kit part, but it is rubber, but it's a pretty hard rubber, so it's like a big poly cap, I guess, for the locator. Right, this gun pod has been doing my head in. I've looked at a heap more images of the Harrier, the AV-8B, and definitely the images I've seen, it can carry the gun pod, and I've seen the lantern there, but I don't believe you can do it with this kit, because I believe they've just given you an option. You want the gun pod or the lantern pod in the belly, because that's the pylon for the belly. They've only given you there's your pylons. So this is the center one. That won't fit over the gun pod, obviously, because it'd need to be a special shape, I'm guessing. I can't see that much of it, but I can see the lantern pod hanging between the gun pod. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to put the lantern pod on one of the wings and only put one laser guided bomb on the other wing, because I'll probably have the sidewinders outer. I'll have the drop tanks for sure, because I love jet aircraft. I love the look of them when they have their drop tanks on them. And so yeah, I don't believe you can do it unless you know the shape of the pile on it. Maybe you could. So at least now I can just move forward, because I wasted a lot of time trying to work this out. The other thing I might mention is a couple of things. Alright, the plastic is definitely soft. I know now when I made this pylon up in 3 parts. I'm not sure why they do that, but anyway, when I glued it and pinched it together, the plastic squeezes up. That's a good tester for me to know it's really soft. But it doesn't feel it. A bit odd, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. What's the other thing that's going to... Oh, that's what I meant. So most manufacturers, especially with jet aircraft, usually towards the end they'll give you a option, or show you the weapons, and they'll like have a drawing of the aircraft and the pylons, and they'll say, oh, you can put your drop tank on here, 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 here. This kit does not do that. So they don't say, well, you can put this one here or here. It's just they show you the pylons and that's it, and the weapons. Again, that's not an issue, and it is their first kit, so, and usually I do anyway, even though they might tell you what's going on. I usually look for images online, because sometimes I like to do it a bit different, or load it up something a bit different than the norm. Alright, so they're glued in, or they're all glued in. I've put that gun pod thing in that they said for the gun, and what was the other one? That's the one if you're not having the gun. I still don't know what the difference, they look the same to me. So see, that's glued in. That's a bit of a gap there, and I'm not sure if that's meant to be, because that's how it fits. You can't, that's all squared up, you can't move that over. And I'm not sure about the gap. That looks a bit big to me, but I may be wrong. Let's put this on. So that's, you can see, to me I think that's a little bit big, but like I said, maybe it is, like, I doubt it, but anyway, you won't see that really anyway when it's sitting on the tarmac or on my display cabinet. Right, so I'm going to go back now. I've worked out about the gun pod, and I'll go back now and start painting the cockpit tub and the wheel bay. Oh, I need to put another piece in there too. What was the other thing that's come to my mind? Oh, there's no mention of, I couldn't see anyway, of if you need nose weight. I can't remember. It's been years since I did the Eddard boxing of Hasegawa's GR7, like a limited edition kit, and I can't remember if you need nose weight or not, because it's a unique aircraft with the it's got belly wheels and you got wheels on the wing. So I will probably put some in just to be on the safe side, but there's no mention. But that doesn't mean that you don't need it, because sometimes they don't tell you that. So you could do a dry fit of all your parts and check. There is a lot of weight. By the time you put all this in, that on, it's should be front heavy anyway, but I'd check it out to make sure. I've glued the fuselage together. I've got to clean up the seam joint yet. I've made the stabilizers up. Be mindful how they've got it drawn here. They got the image. You would think, oh, that's the right one, that's the left one, right side, left side, but it's not. It's the other way around. And because you've got that poly cap in there, you can adjust them. And they're even meant to, you move one, the other one moves. Not perfect, but it does. But you can adjust them anyway. So they'll come off. And I'll paint them separate. Oh, you have to glue your strengthening plate on. Just one part of it. I don't know why, but you do. And one of them had pronounced ejection pin marks. I had to sand it down, but the other one still had ejection pin marks, but they were recessed, so I didn't have to clean it up. What else? Alright, so I've painted up. I'll just come back here. If you think the orange, well, it's orange brown harness is a bit much, I looked up images of the cockpit and I found several images where they do have that colour, so I went with that because it's a bit more eye-popping. Oh, it makes you, draws your attention to the cockpit. One decal on the seat. Decal is too big. What they show you there, it should fit inside all the raised details. It overlaps raised details, so it's too big. I've painted up the nose section of the fuselage and the cockpit tub. And I've started, you can see I've started putting these decals. Well, yeah, the Lambo, that's the brand. So I've put one side in. That long piece is too long, wouldn't even fit. I've trimmed. Hang on, let's see if I can pick it up. So I've trimmed that much off the end. So you can see that's where it should have sat, but there's just no way, it was too long. So I'm just gonna go with what I got. I might be able to do something with it, maybe trim a bit more off it. Be careful, this stuff is brittle. You do not put this stuff in water like some of the other ones. And another, it's easy to work out, but it's a bit, yeah, 11, 12, but they don't give you the numbers for here, which would be maybe 14, and the other side would be maybe 15, 16, but they don't. Oh, sorry, my bad, they do. There you go. I'm too busy focusing on one image, so they do give you the full call out. And you have the option, if that shows up, your screen's powered up or powered off. So that's a nice touch. But be careful with them, because I trimmed that. I just set it on my cutting mat and pushed down with a sharp blade to where I wanted to cut it. And it went ping, flying off into the universe. I did manage to find it. Right, this is what they tell you about those Lambo cockpit parts. So it's this product of rigid materials feature no elasticity, no bending the parts of the products. You gently press the parts to take them off. Gently bend the white backing paper downward along the fringe of the parts. So just to flex it to get it off, but I just use, same as I do on the other brands, I just get that blade and lift it off. And take the parts off, attach them with etching gel glue. I'm just using CA glue. Yeah, so I'm not, now I'm concerned about that det cord, how that's going to perform, because it breaks easy, the stuff, so I might have to end up using the other one, the Cockpit Canopy that had the det cord molded in it. I know, I'll see. I'm obviously going to try, but it does seem to break quite easily. Right, so I'm going to finish putting that stuff on, and then I'll put the front, the nose section together, and start progressing. Alright, so I've got the rest of those bits in. I did manage to cut a part of that one I said should have fitted in there and glued it in, so it's covered that area. The other problem with these things is you can see the white paper on the edges. Whether the main instrument panel covers that or not, I don't know yet, I haven't looked. But otherwise you might need to paint a bit of grey or black over it, because it stands out because it's white. But other than that, they're in. So that's, I haven't glued it in yet, it's just a dry fit, but you shouldn't, probably don't need to glue it because of the size of the fits on it, so, but I'll probably put a bit of glue in. Before I fully commit to gluing this up, I've just glued just right up the front there so I can still open it. Now the cockpit tub is sitting in its positions where it's supposed to be. I thought I would dry fit the top of the cockpit area, the canopy frame. The kit comes with two. This is the part they've called for, which is 25. So the same length anyway, but the difference is the hatches that are there. I don't know, it must be different variant coming along. Anyway, so you got those tabs, which you know where they're going to sit in there, and that lines up all right. But this side's not too bad. Just pinch that in a minute. The other side, see, it doesn't want to push in at the back, and that's because, well, from what I can see, it's because of that bulkhead, and these parts here, the curved parts, rest on there. It doesn't seem right, but you can see that's lined up the front, so it's not a positional thing, it's being fouled by that. So I don't know, the only way I can see how it is, you've got to chip away some plastic. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I'm not up to that yet, but I just wanted to, because there's so many parts to make up one piece, it's a matter of being cautious, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I'll have a bit more to play with it, see if I can work something out. Well, it's definitely to do with the bulkhead and the inside of that, because I took that cockpit out, pushed it shut and sat it down, and it sat flush along the fuselage halves, so it's something I'm going to have to take some plastic off the inside here, I guess. I did do a quick sand, but it didn't do much. But it's and again, that's sitting where it's supposed to, so it's, I don't know. Anyway, here's what it is. I'm going to have to modify it to get it to fit at the end of the day. So that's you got the two in the kit, so I'm having the ones with the doors open. I'm not sure when it's parked whether they just relax naturally, but if you want the other one, it's all closed up. Even if I'm doing it wrong, it just adds more interest. And the fan, I need to paint that separate. It'll just sit on there. So yeah, like that. And then you got the gap there, and so that way, and you got the tabs there, should go in between those to align that. So it's flush, that's a good thing. The actual gap though, I'm not sure about, but when it's glued it might push in a bit more. And you can see that side's got a bit more gap than this side when I glued it. I have to use some putty there, but the gun covers all that anyway, so I probably don't need to worry about it. So that'll be able to start doing some of that. It's all a bit over the place here, these instructions. So that was the cockpit together, fuselage. Here we go, the fan. So it plugs on, and then that'll, same as I think other manufacturers how they do it, that'll push into there to align it. I believe that should be how it all lines up. The right way. Yep. Maybe. I got the wrong way. That's right. What's going on there? That's shocking. Oh, that's better. It's me, not you. Yeah. So that looks good. And you can see, when you look in, you can see part of the fan. So you need to paint that. I'm not trying to do a quick job and not worry about it, because you can see it. Appears to be all nice. So no, look at this. Yeah, so you can see that looks, the back of that should be right, I think. Might be a bit of a gap. You might have a bit of a gap there, but it's still, that's not right. And that I do not think is me. But I'm not going to say 100%. Anyway, it's a bit hard when everything's loose, so you need to trying to get fits and that. I have to sort of just trying different things out. Like I said, there's so many parts to make up just that section. I want to see how it all fits before I glue it. But now there's nothing I can do about that, but other than remove plastic to get it to sit down. So I'll glue this up now and just continue on doing this. I'll probably paint that up and start fitting everything together.